Raiders free agent targets at the linebacker position. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and our new defensive coordinator, Rob Leonard, is going to be going with a 3-4 defensive front. So it's going to be important for the Silver and Black to add some outside linebackers, and edges in general. So what I've done today, I have ranked the top 10 linebackers that Klint Kubiak, John Spytek, Rob Leonard, and this Raiders organization should target once free agency begins. If you do not know when free agency begins, Monday, March 9th at noon Eastern is what's known as the legal tampering period, where you can talk to players, you can talk to agents, and this is when a lot of deals will get done. And then when the new league year starts, Wednesday, March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern, those deals will be officially official. According to Over the Cap and according to Spotrac, the Raiders do have top 4 money and salary cap to spend. I personally look at Over the Cap a little bit more just based on the way that their contracts kind of go down. So I look at this saying the Raiders have top 2 money, and they better be aggressive this offseason. Because when I asked John Spytek at the Combine, what's your biggest need? He laughed at me, and then I go offense and defense. And he kind of laughed at me again. We got a lot of holes. We got a lot of holes that need to be filled. And I want y'all to hit that subscribe button, and I hope that you tune in for the best free agency coverage on the planet. We're going to be live probably 20, 25, 30 hours next week on this show. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is a little bit up in the air just based on our schedule, but we're going to be giving away prizes. We're going to be giving away money all week long. So if you're a Raiders fan and you love this show and you want to know what's going on around the NFL and free agency, I promise you this, we're going to be your one-stop shop. We're going to work our way from 10 all the way down to 1. And just because a player is ranked higher than another doesn't mean that I like that guy more or less. What also we have to factor into this equation is fit in a 3-4 defense. Also, the overall price tag of that player. Let's first talk about Alex Anzalone, linebacker, played for Detroit last season. He is 31 years old. I'm going to try to talk about some ages, and that's one of the reasons why Anzalone is up here at number 10 is because he's 31. If he was 28, 27, I would have ranked him a lot higher. 95 tackles last season for the Detroit Lions, and honestly, I think he's been a big anchor on that Lions defense since he's arrived in Detroit in 2021, because he's played over 1,000 snaps in 3 of the last 4 seasons. A great leader. Maybe better hair, and I do think would really help out our new linebacker group from top to bottom. I usually give you guys Spotrac market value. I hope that you don't mind. I just decided to switch it up here a little bit for this video. And his PFF projected contract, 2 years, $15 million. So $7.5 million a year for Anzalone. His PFF grade last season was a 67.5 overall. And as you can see, and I do think the tape kind of aligns with this, he's just a really good, consistent linebacker, that can do a bunch of different things, and he wears that C on his chest, which you know for a fact this organization does really like. Over the last 4 years, though, in Detroit, the 2024 season was the season that he did not play in over those 1,000 snaps, but the Detroit Lions have been a FU style of football team, and if you're the Silver and Black and you have the amount of free agents that we do at that linebacker position, I think if you bring in a leader like Alex Anzalone, it would make a lot of sense. Let's go to number 9 here. I'm going to go Quay Walker, and I actually was surprised how low I ranked Quay on my own show, but that's just because of how highly I've talked about Walker on some previous programs. The reason why I'm ranking Quay a little bit lower now is because, 1, of the price tag, and 2, he really hasn't lived up to the bill. I get it, young player, 25 years old, former, I believe he was a first-round pick out of Georgia. Oh, no, he was part of the Devontae trade. I was going to say, the Raiders, when they traded, it was what? He was Christian Watson and Quay Walker were for Devontae Adams. I was like, yeah, Quay Walker. But 128 tackles last season. I would say this. When I watched the Quay Walker tape, it reminded me a lot more of Devin White than what I'm actually happy about. Like, you know, I saw the tackles, and I don't follow the Green Bay Packers as closely as I do the Raiders, but 58 games played under his belt. Tackling machine. Very, very good against the run. But he is not good in coverage. That PFF projected contract, though, like, if you're a team that believes in your ability to be able to build linebackers, go invest in Quay Walker. If you don't believe in your linebacking coach and you don't believe in your ability to go out and get those guys, maybe not the best option. Now, he is coming off a 48.5 overall grade. Solid against the run. Again, not the best numbers from a Green Bay standpoint, but when you look at the numbers overall, you're going to see a lot of tackles. and he is an interesting player to be able to put in the middle of a defense. Now, I would look at this and go, well, he's about to be 26, 27, 28. Can he learn? And if he is able to learn, his upside, without a doubt, is up there. But I was a lot higher on Quay Walker, and then I went back to the drawing board. I talked to some of the guys that cover the team, and he is number 9 on my list. Let's go to number 8 here on my Raiders free agent linebacker targets, K'Lavon Chaisson. I also tried to just illustrate linebacker to outside linebacker. Alex Anzalone and Quay Walker, they would play the middle linebacker, weak side linebacker role for the Raiders. K'Lavon Chaisson, obviously, would be an edge/outside linebacker. 26 years old. Loved what he was able to do with the Raiders in 2024. Also, did a really solid job in New England this past season. But when I think of a Rob Leonard outside linebacker, long, lengthy, hell of an athlete, K'Lavon Chaisson is absolutely a player that should come to mind. Now, that PFF projected contract, 3 years, $45 million, I'm not going to lie to you, that's a little bit too rich for my blood. I would hope that the Raiders could get him on a little bit of a cheaper contract than that. 12.5 sacks the past 2 seasons. But if I was K'Lavon, I would want to play with Rob Leonard again. Because I think Rob Leonard really helped jumpstart his career and help make him, not make him, but give him the confidence that he needed. Because when he was coming out of LSU, when he went to Jacksonville, he was just kind of pushed aside and not nearly the player that what you've seen over the past 2 seasons in New England, in Las Vegas. So if I'm K'Lavon, I would want to go play with Rob Leonard again. And if the Silver and Black did end up spending that $15 million per year on him, I would hope it would be like a 2-year, the 3rd year, 0 guaranteed. But then also, you know, you kind of have to trust this new regime, and you kind of have to trust Rob Leonard to go out and get exactly what he wants. And he did have a lot of success with K'Lavon Chaisson before when he was the defensive line coach. So let me know down below. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. If the Raiders can sign only one linebacker in free agency, who should it be? My answer is going to be at the very, very end of the show. So you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, please scroll on down and give me your answer. I got a top middle linebacker, and I got a top outside linebacker. They're going to be ranked at 1 and 2 on this video. Let's go to number 7 here. And if there's one guy, when I got done doing this video, again, I script all my stuff. Chugs, Reed, all the guys here at Chat Sports, they help me build it. They do a lot of the building. But the one player that I was kind of kicking myself in the butt like, maybe I should have ranked him a little bit higher, Devin Bush. Played with the Cleveland Browns last season. I love this kid when he was first coming out of Michigan. He is a little bit undersized, 5'11", 235, 27 years old. But the last 2 seasons in Cleveland, I think he's done a hell of a job really showing people what a lot of people expected him to be when he was first coming out of Michigan. And you know that Spytek and Brady love products of Michigan. And I also love his sideline-to-sideline speed. He had a career year in 2025. He was great in 2024 also. The projected contract of 3 years, $36 million, I am more than okay with because he is coming off of an absolutely bananas type of season. 87.6 overall PFF grade. He was great against the run. He's good against the pass. He can drop back into coverage. Now, I do wonder, and I am a little bit concerned, like, was Devin Bush really good because he was just in a stacked defense in Cleveland? That question did go through my mind multiple times. But then also, you don't put up the type of production that Devin Bush did last season. Again, a lot of tackles flying around the football field. 2 sacks, good. The 8 PBUs, the 3 interceptions, the 2 touchdowns. Devin Bush at 27, sometimes it just clicks a little bit later for guys. And for a guy like Devin at 27, like I look at that and I go, dude, he's about to hit his prime. This could be one of those players at the end of this offseason. We look back and go, man, Devin Bush was a hell of a discounted price. Or, man, we really overpaid him after 2 really good seasons in Cleveland. Interesting prospect, but I do think the Raiders are going to show a little bit of interest in him. Coming up next here on the show, we got our top 6 linebacker free agent targets for Rob Leonard and this brand new defensive snap. Sorry, I got the sniffles. You know what else I got? An awesome GLD chain, and if you want to take advantage of this deal, 50% off. Yep, you heard it right. Every guy has those go-to pieces, right? The shoes that go with everything. I was rocking certain shoes when I went to the NFL Combine. The pair of jeans that fit just right. The T-shirt that always looks oh so clean, and no matter what you pair it with, you don't overthink those pieces. You can grab them, and they work every time. That's how I feel about GLD. Whether I want to rock the chain here on the Raiders Report, I want you all to know I rock with Raider Nation, and I rep this thing every day. Also, though, when I do date night with my wife, she loves y'all. She doesn't want me to wear the Raiders shield. I take the shield off, and I get to rock a sick gold chain. But they got everything, though, from chains, pennants, bracelets, nice selection of watches. Whether you want to keep it simple or if you want a little bit of shine, they got you covered. 50,000 5-star reviews. That's a lot of reviews. GLD can even create fully custom pieces from a one-of-a-kind pennant, iced out chains designed exactly how you want them. I've actually been tinkering around a little bit on GLD. I'm trying to get Chugs a chain. I want to get like just a big old Chugs chain. I like a turnover chain. I'm into it. I think it'd be pretty sick. Work hard and change the game. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code CHAT. That's CHAT. If you don't know how to spell chat, I don't know how long you've watched chat sports programs. Use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code CHAT at GLD.com. After you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them. Please tell them Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report. That way, I can keep on hooking up the nation with some of these awesome deals. Let's go to number 6 here on my free agent linebacker targets, Leo Chenal. And what's always cool about doing this show, I can remember a few years ago when I really wanted the Raiders to go out and get Leo Chenal, and then he ended up freaking going to the Chiefs. I was heartbroken. What I like about this guy, young player, very coachable. Anytime you hear any of his coaches from Kansas City talk about him, they speak of words of leadership. They speak of words of just a guy that absolutely, positively loves football. Young, versatile. Not only can he do everything, he wants to try to do everything. My only kind of knock on him is he's never played more than 600 snaps in a season. 65 games played, 44 games started. But at 2 years, $12 million, $6 million per year, Leo Chenal is an outstanding piece that's got AFC West experience, which you know for a fact matters to Mark Davis. 72.6 coverage grade, which I like a lot from PFF. And then when you look at his numbers over the past 4 seasons, this is a guy that's on the field a lot. 17 games played, 2024 to 2022. Only 14 games played last season, but I also think that's the Chiefs were shutting down certain players from time to time. Leo Chenal, great middle linebacker, weak side linebacker prospect for the Silver and Black. Let's go to number 5 here on my list. I'm going to go with Jaelan Phillips. Now, again, edge, outside linebacker, 3-4 now. That's the type of players that we're going to be looking at. And Phillips was always a dude that I loved coming out of Miami. And I remember covering his story when I first started doing this whole thing because he actually went to UCLA, contemplated retirement because he had just all these injuries, and then he went to Miami for a year and ended up just blowing it up. Now, 53 tackles, 14 tackles for loss. This is a player that you put him on the outside, and he is going to thrive. If I could turn Madden injuries off, Jaelan Phillips would be a top 3 player on this show. Unfortunately, I can't turn injuries off, and it's the biggest thing that has hampered this 26-year-old because when he's healthy, dude, everybody knows he's special. But when you've seen the amount of injuries that Jaelan Phillips has had to deal with over the course of his career, I mean, he's had Achilles. He's just been very much so injury prone. But Rob Leonard was the Miami Dolphins outside linebacker coach in 2021 when Jaelan Phillips was a first-round pick, when Jaelan Phillips had a career-high 8.5 sacks. Now, the PFF projected contract is 1 year, $15 million. I love the idea, and the reason why I say this, I love the idea, is last year the Raiders, they had a swing and a miss on a 1-year contract with Malcolm Kuntz. And I hear you. Some people might be a little bit nervous about it. I'll say this right now. If the Raiders wanted to do a 1-year prove-it deal with Jaelan Phillips at that $15 million price tag, I would be more than on board with it because I do think he's a good player. And he is a really good fit in this defense. And he has the connection to Rob Leonard. And he also did a hell of a job last season in Philadelphia because he played 819 snaps. I did not expect Phillips to really get his career back on track as quickly as he did because in 2024 and 2023, he did. He missed a lot of time with multitude of different injuries. I believe he popped an Achilles in 2024, and I forget what his other lower body injury was in 2023. But if you're looking for talent and you're looking for upside, I think Jalen Phillips is absolutely a player to consider. Let's go to number 4 here on my list. It's going to be Nakobe Dean. And Nakobe, when I got done doing this show, I had a hard time debating where I wanted to put Nakobe Dean and where I wanted to put Devin Bush. I even thought about flipping them a few times, but that's how close some of these rankings are. If you look at me and you tell me I'm going to get 17 games with Nakobe Dean, I'm going to leave him at number 4, and I don't think twice about it. 55 tackles last season for the Birds, 7 tackles for loss, a great sideline-to-sideline linebacker, though he did miss 7 games. When he was healthy, he was one of the best defenders that Philadelphia Eagles team had. He also can give you a little bit of extra pressure as a linebacker who, again, is going to play the middle of that defense, but you can also line him up on the outside. 26 pressures the past 2 seasons with 7 sacks. That projected contract is a little bit too rich for my blood, but then again, the reason why I would give him that type of money is because of what he did in 2024. I showed you guys a lot of 2025 numbers, but for Nakobe Dean, I really wanted to show y'all 2024 because I thought this was his best year, and this was the tape that you should turn on and want the Raiders to go out and get this guy. And the 128 tackles, solid. 9 tackles for loss, you got to love it. But if you're going to invest that amount of money in a linebacker, $13 million plus, he needs to be able to tackle. He needs to be able to cover. He needs to be a good leader. And when you come from that Georgia background, you are known as being a good leader because Georgia wants guys that are leaders. Georgia wants guys that can tackle, and Georgia wants guys that fly around the football. And that's exactly what Nakobe Dean does. Now, if you agree with me that you think linebacker is a major need this offseason for the Silver and Black, I hope that you hit that like button right now. We got a lot of money to spend. Brand new 3-4 defense. I mean, the Raiders are 100% interested and looking at the linebacker position. That's why there's so many rumors right now around Tremaine Edmonds that I've discussed on this show. The graphic that I'm about to show y'all, it's kind of wild, and it's going to look wild because I did want to illustrate what a 3-4 defense could look like for the Raiders at the linebacker position. It was difficult because the linebackers that we have aren't built to play a 3-4. So I just tried to show y'all, bigger point was Jamal Adams, Alandon Roberts, Devin White, and Malcolm Kuntz. I think if the Raiders played a game today, this is how they would try to line up with some of these linebackers. Now, maybe they would put Jamal Adams as the weak side guy with Alandon, and then, I don't know, maybe add a guy like Charles Snowden as your outside linebacker. The bigger point is we got needs, and we got a lot of needs at that linebacker spot. Let's go to number 3 here on the list, and it's going to be Boye Mafe. I like Boye Mafe a lot, and the only reason why that I rank Boye higher than Jalen Phillips is because I think that you can count on Boye to stay healthier better than Jalen and better than somebody like Nakobe Dean. But at 27 years old, coming off a Super Bowl run with Seattle, I think that type of player is going to be able to buy into what Klint Kubiak is selling a little bit easier. And I loved being able to watch him in college, a lot of Big Ten football. This guy's a freak athlete. He's one of the best athletes in the NFL. And anytime I've learned freak athlete, edge position, Rob Leonard, that math usually works out in the way that I like it to. He's also had a lot of consistent pressure, 146 pressures the past 3 seasons, 17 sacks. Yes, that projected contract at 3 years, $49 million, but 16.3 for a guy that can consistently get after the QB is extremely important. 559 snaps last season, an overall 69.2 PFF grade. I like what Boye brings to the table, but some people might not love the lower sack production that he had last season. I would encourage you to look at what he did in 2024 and in 2023. And I had the opportunity to talk to Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald at the NFL Combine, and I kind of picked his brain a little bit about what he thought of Rob Leonard, the 3-4 defense. The one thing that I really came from that was Mike McDonald was going to use his players the way that he felt was best for his team overall, and I think it's really hard to argue with the results. So, earlier on this show, I asked y'all, who are the top linebackers that you want the Raiders to sign? If you're looking for a middle, weak side linebacker to put in the middle of that defense, slap a green dot on the back of their head, his name's Devin Lloyd. And it actually was really difficult for me to not put Lloyd at number 1. The only reason why I have Devin Lloyd at number 2 and not at number 1, it's because I think edge, outside linebacker, is a more important role in the NFL than putting a linebacker in the middle. But Devin Lloyd is, without a doubt, the top linebacker prospect in this year's free agency class, and I don't really think it's all that close. 27 years old, 74 tackles, 10 QB hits, 7 PBUs from a linebacker standpoint. That's bananas. And the name I'm going to throw out here, it's going to scare you, right? I really wanted the Raiders to go out and get Corey Littleton. Obviously, that was just a really, really bad signing. I look at Devin Lloyd and I go, it kind of reminds me of a player like that because he can stop the run. He can drop back into coverage. He can get after the quarterback. And in his last 4 seasons, 63 games played, 61 starts. 3-year, $48 million is a lot for a linebacker, but at 27, 28 years old, Devin Lloyd's about to hit the peak of his career. And if he does what he did last season, 3 years, 48 mil, it's going to feel like a steal. The 89.1 overall PFF grade, I have not seen too many players grade above an 80 in run defense, pass rush, and coverage, and Devin Lloyd is absolutely positively deserving of that. I mean, tell me the last time you saw a linebacker get 5 interceptions in a season. Like, people were picking on him, and teams would try to put tight ends. Teams would try to put running backs. Teams were trying to put, different players on Lloyd, and I got to give a lot of credit to Liam Cohen and that defensive staff because they did a great job of putting Lloyd in positions to succeed that really matched. Oh, dude, yeah, I mean, these numbers are disgusting. Like, you don't have, like, people can argue with PFF grades all they want. When the tape matches the stats and it matches the grades and it just kind of all comes into fruition, you should get really excited. And if you get a notification that says the Las Vegas Raiders have signed Devin Lloyd, you should get really, really excited. Let's go to number 1 here, Odafe Oweh. I think he is the top linebacker, edge, outside linebacker prospect that the Raiders should get. Do I think Odafe Oweh is a better player than Devin Lloyd? I do not. Do I think edge is a more important position than linebacker? Yes, I do. Do I think the Raiders need to do a better job at being able to get after the quarterback? Yes, without a doubt. That's why Odafe Oweh is the top player, the top linebacker that I want Rob Leonard and this defense to go out and get. 38 tackles last season. 9 tackles for loss, 18 quarterback hits. I am a Penn Stater. I remember watching Odafe with the Nittany Lions, and I loved him. The other reason, though, that I think that this deal could end up going down, it's the connection. Rob Leonard was the outside linebacker coach in Baltimore in 2022 when Odafe Oweh was there. The past 2 seasons, 17.5 sacks. I think the way that the Chargers used him is the better way compared to the way that Baltimore used him. But 4 years, $77 million at $19.3 million. If the Raiders were to move on from Crosby, obviously that would sting a little bit. But the Raiders, I do believe, are going to move on from Malcolm Kuntz. He's going to be a free agent. I want the Raiders to invest some money in getting after the quarterback. I think a great upgrade at that edge position is going out and getting Oweh, who had a 78.0 pass rush PFF grade, only 513 snaps. But when you're looking at consistency, I think that that's something that Odafe has done a good job with because he is a outstanding athlete. And I'll keep saying it, outstanding athlete plus Rob Leonard usually results in really, really good numbers. And that's what I'm going to buy into. I'm going to buy into a player that's had 17.5 sacks the past 2 seasons. A young guy that's got connections to Rob Leonard. A young player that's got AFC West experience. All those reasons are why Odafe Oweh is the number 1 linebacker free agent target that I want the Raiders to go out and get. Now, if you made it this far in this video, don't be afraid to take a screenshot. You can tag me on IG, tag me on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. And also, don't be afraid to tell me where you agree with me and where you disagree with me. Because at the end of the day, this is why I do this show. For Raider Nation, to hear your guys' thoughts. If the Raiders do plan on investing, though, in that 3-4 defense, Odafe Oweh, Devin Lloyd is all I ask from this organization. And if you guys don't already know, make sure you click that subscribe button. Again, if you're already watching here, you're the definition of a real one, and I'm going to be live for all the real ones next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You might even be able to convince me to go live on Friday as well. If you're looking for the best Raiders free agency coverage on planet Earth, I promise you, the Raiders Report will provide.